I think we're recording.
You are.
Okay, good. Thanks, Erin. Okay. So like I just said, you guys know I'm not very smart when it comes to the technology, so I'm doing my best, but here we go. So I was going to talk about following up tonight because I hear all the time people talk about or ask, when do you follow up? How many times should you follow up? How long do you wait before you follow up? And what happens if you get crickets, or, you know, all those questions. So I sort of retitled it, Don't Take No for an Answer. And I'll get into that in a little bit as to why, because following up is so important. So I'm just going to move on to the next slide. And if you guys have any questions along the way, please stop me. Sometimes I start to ramble and I get off track, and I need you to reel me back in. Happens to the best of us. You guys can see my screen, right? Good, you can see the slide? Okay. So the biggest fear I had when I first started with following up, and sometimes it still gets to me, is I'm afraid I'm going to be annoying to my friends or customers or whomever. And I know a lot of you guys feel that way too. So what I'm going to tell you is that you, the customer or whoever it is you're speaking to and following up with, they have to know what your intent is. Your follow-up is always free. So compare it to a server in a restaurant. We've all had those servers when we're eating out who come back every 30 seconds. Is everything okay? Can I do anything for you? What do you need? And you're like, I just want to talk to whoever I'm sitting with. And we've all had those servers at a restaurant who you were like, oh, please come back, I need a refill, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So we've seen both sides of it. The key is kind of to find a happy medium. So you have to adjust your approach to how you would want it, how you would want someone to talk to you. And I always say that it's very important. So getting into that, let your customers know what your intentions are. Regardless of what the challenge pack sale is, if that's what you're going for. Not everyone's going to say yes right away, and you need to talk to those people. So when you come back to them, you know, always offer some way to help them in a roundabout way too, so that they don't think you're just trying to sell them. I know sometimes in our business it's easy to feel like what I call a cheap used car salesman. But that's never our intent. Our intent is what? To help people. So if you make sure that whoever it is you're talking to knows that, I think you'll be okay. Next, set expectations. So explain why you're following up to somebody. What I do is, like, I like to say, I've got my notes here, I'm the kind of coach that really likes to get to know you, which is true. I do like to get to know my customers. And I'll say I have a reputation for being a good coach and asking questions. And then I'll say, let me know if I'm bugging you, because I can take it. So to me, if someone said that to me, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're not bugging me. You're just truly interested. So do that for sure. You got to find out how the customer wants to be helped, you guys. So the way that we want to serve other people isn't always how they want to be served. So that's an opportunity for both of you, really, to share how you want to help them and how they want to be helped. Does that make sense? I hope so. And overall, remember, follow-up is really, it's just good customer service, right? That's all it is. So go back to that server in a restaurant analogy, or anywhere you've had excellent customer service. What was great about it, or what was bad about it? And think of it that way. It's really just customer service. It's really kind of all it is. Any questions so far? We doing okay? I can't see everybody's face, so. It's okay, baby. My daughter's sitting next to me. I think she wants to help along. So what is the follow-up? What does it look like? What does it sound like? If your initial answer, how many times you guys heard this? It's not a good time, not right now, you know, that kind of thing. That's when you need to ask permission for a follow-up. So I have people say this to me several times a week at least. You know what, I can't do it right now, maybe some other time. And when I first started, I would just hide my head in defeat, and I would say, oh, no, the answer was no, and I'd run away. So don't do that. When they say that to you, say, okay, great. Would it be okay if I follow up with you in a month or so, check in on you and see how you're doing? Add them at that time to your contact list whether you use an Excel spreadsheet or pen and paper like I do, because we know I don't like the computer. Whatever it is you have to use to make your contact list, go for it. And also, ask for a referral. Now, you don't have to say, hey, I'm asking you for a referral. Just say, hey, do you know anyone else who could maybe benefit from, what we're doing? Would it be okay if, I contacted them or you gave them, my information? That is perfectly okay to do. It's sort of like, and I keep going back to that restaurant where they give you, or at a store, when you purchase something, they give you that little 800 number to call, like a customer satisfaction survey almost. It's kind of like that. They're asking for your referral. So it's okay to do that as well. Okay. Another thing that you can say, I totally understand, which we do, right? We know people are strapped for cash. We know that life happens. Pets die, you get in car accidents, all kinds of things happen. We get that. We're all human. So you can say, I totally understand. Let them know that you host a challenge group pretty much every month, or that you know someone who does host a challenge group pretty much every month. And then say, is it okay if I put a reminder in my calendar for when's a better time for you? And they're 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Let's see. I think the next question was when. So we just talked about what's the follow-up. When do you follow up? Okay, now this is the question I get asked the most from newer coaches, and I'm sure I bugged Sally and Stu to death with this question. When do I contact them again, right? So I would say after your initial conversation, if they don't make contact with you, maybe within 1 to 2 days. Make it light, but you can still make it direct. So you can say, hey, so-and-so, I'm finalizing my June challenge group. I've been saving you a spot because I know you're interested. Do you still want to join us? And a lot of times I'll have people say, yes, I do want to join you. Now I'm ready. Or they'll still say, no, it's not a good time. Or you get the dreaded crickets when they don't say anything at all. So then what do you do after you've followed up with them after 1 or 2 days, you've sent them a message, you can see on Facebook if they've seen your message and read it, right? So wait another 1 to 3 days. Ask yourself first, how do you want to be spoken to? How do you want to be treated? That's what I always do. And I know I've been in a situation where someone's left me a message, I'll read it, and then I forget. I don't have time to respond. Maybe I'm running into someplace or whatever. That can totally happen. So after another 1 to 3 days, just say, hey, it's me again. And I put this in here because this is pretty much what I say a lot of times. I know you were interested in the challenge group, but it doesn't seem like it's a good time for you right now. Don't worry. You haven't hurt my feelings. This is where you can let them off the hook. I'd love to follow up with you again in a few months. And then ask them what you can help with in the meantime. Do they need some fitness ideas? Do they need some healthy recipes? Can you, are you doing a 7-day free clean eating challenge? Something like that. Keep in mind that whenever you're giving something away for free, you're building trust with your customer. That makes sense, guys? And I know a lot of times it seems like we do a lot of work and we don't get anything in return for it, but I would like to correct that and say you do get something in return. You've gained a following and you've gained someone's trust, and that's a big deal. It's important to have people trust you, right? At least I think so. All right, let me scroll down to the next slide. So far, so good? Okay, cool. Okay, so how do you follow up without being too pushy? Because that's what we're all worried about, right? Is feeling pushy and being pushy. Keep in the back of your mind that if your intentions are good and it's to truly help people, then you're not going to be pushy. If you're only thinking about selling something, then that's not going to go so well for you. The customer can smell that a mile away. Kind of like when you walk into that used car lot and you get 3 people running up to you, you know that they're hungry to make that sale, and it's clearly very annoying, right? So don't be that guy. But basically every 1 to 2 weeks, send something to them that builds your trust and value even more. It can be anything. It can be a recipe. You can even send them just like a favorite picture of, I don't know, your sparkling water or whatever it is you like to drink, and just say, hey, I tried this. Maybe you could try it. It's, not bad for you. There's no artificial flavorings in this one. I don't know, something. Pay attention to what they're posting on Facebook. Comment on their posts. Like their posts. I have what I call chronic like button syndrome. So I'm liking posts all the time, and truly I do like most of them. But that, people look to see who's liking and commenting on their posts. So continue to do that, okay? Share something that will encourage them on Facebook. Anything, just say, hey, I was thinking about you today. How are you doing? Any of those things are just ways to keep the conversation open. I know sometimes we talk about, I have on here, the follow-up never ends. Be intentional in what you're doing. You're interested in them, not so much the other way around all the time. So get to know who you're talking to. Get to know what they truly need and how to help them. And don't ever cross someone off your list. So, I used to, and I don't know if anyone else is guilty of this, I used to, if someone told me no, I would say, okie dokie, and I'd move right along to the next person, and I would never think about them again. I think that's a mistake. That's a bad idea. And I'm actually going to call out a newer coach on our team. I don't know if she's going to like this, that I'm doing this. I don't think she's on the call, though. So a newer coach that recently signed up, this girl had talked to me, and I've been friends with her for years and years, and it was just never the right time for her. It was just never the right time. But I wasn't going to drop the conversation because I know she needed my help. And then she finally just said that she was ready. And so she got the 21-day fix. She signed up as a coach. She's just starting her training. But after telling me how she's been going to the gym for so long and not losing a single pound, she lost like 11 pounds in her first round of 21-day fix. So it can do that. And then when that person says thank you for sticking with them and not giving up on them, that's a big deal, and that feels good. I like to hear that. I like it when someone tells me thank you. So keep that in mind. Don't ever cross someone off your list. They're always going to need your help at some point in time. And lastly, I have on here one of our 3 vital behaviors, right? Invite, invite, invite. I would like to change that to connect, connect, connect. So rather than just inviting people all the time, you have to make that personal connection too. So when you're reaching out and talking to someone, do just that. Be genuinely interested in what's happening in their life. And I think you'll be surprised at, how much you can really offer, how much value you have as someone's coach to give them, and don't underestimate your own value. So connect, connect, connect. Although invite's way easier to say. But I think that was my biggest notes on my on following up. How to do it, when to do it, how often to do it, and don't be annoying. So does anybody have questions right now? It's gonna be a short call, isn't it? I don't know.
Short but powerful.
Oh, thanks, Stuart.
Yeah, I thought it was great. So how many of you guys would say that you're really good at following up in terms of having a system to where you don't just talk to somebody once, but you do actually follow up with them? How many of you guys do that, would you say? Can I see your hands? Anybody? Channing, Christine, Sally, so Aaron. So from the training that I've done, all these trainers that I've listened to, they all say most people don't follow up at all. They really stink at it. And so, this is one of the 7 skills that we need. And if you can just master this skill or just get pretty good at it, I think you'll be so much further ahead than everybody else. Mm-hmm. Because if most people don't do something, if most people drop one of the main 7 skills and you're pretty decent at it, you're going to be pretty high up in the company, in my opinion. So
I have something to add on that, Stuart. I think like a lot of times if customers are interacting with 2 coaches or multiple coaches, which happens a lot, we hear this from people. They get involved in a Summer Strong group and they start making friendships. They're going to go with the coach who keeps following up with them, regardless of the relationship or the connection, because they may think, oh, you must only coach part-time, or you're not as serious about it, or this person's full-time, so they have more time to give to me.
Very good point.
Yeah,
that is a good point, Sally. And to piggyback off of that, I work in a big hospital, okay? And I had talked to someone there. She just asked me questions, told me that what I did inspired her. There's other coaches in our organization, quite a lot of them actually. And when she purchased something, she said, even though she did not know me as well, she had another friend who she was closer to, and it shocked me that she purchased from me just because I had taken more of an interest and truly seemed to care more, she said. So keep those things in mind when you're talking to someone who knows, multiple coaches, because that does happen a lot.
Right. And I've had a lot of people just thank me for following up with them. Just, like Christine said, life gets crazy, things happen, time flies, we lose track of time. And when you have them on your calendar and you follow up with them, a lot of times they'll really thank you. They'll just be like, oh yeah, thank you so much for following up with me. Life's just been so crazy, and, I really appreciate it. I really need to do something. I'm ready to get started, blah, blah, blah. And so, like I was saying earlier, for me, it's just Google Calendar all day long, man. I just put these entries in Google Calendar, and it just notifies me when I need to follow up with people, and I've put them a year in advance. If, sometimes I'm just like, I follow up with somebody in a year, I'll put it, I'll put it then. So
I do the same thing. I think the important part is that Christine and Stuart and myself and the other people who are following up is we have a system to track it. Something, if it's a Post-it note,
that's me.
Put it in your calendar once to do it. I set alarms in my calendar, just like Stuart said he does. But I've made calls about this in the past, and there's a lot of new coaches on the team. Making a list on Facebook where you can group your friends into a list. I do that with people where I have a, dream team, people who I've talked to about coaching, who I think would be really great at coaching, but they may not see it yet or may not express interest. Or people who said no. And so it's not overwhelming to me when I look at my list of all these no's and all these dream team people and all these customers who expressed interest in the 21-day fix. I'm not focusing on them every day. I break it up. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm only going through the timelines of those people in this category. So it's easy. I don't have to go to their pages and go to their stuff. I can just log in on Wednesday afternoon and scroll down and engage with them, comment on their stuff, send them a message, like their pictures. Because we notice who likes our pictures, right? You start to notice names and people commenting, and it feels good, right? You're like, man, people like my post. Why wouldn't our friends and our potential customers feel the same way?
Exactly.
They do. It's a human thing. We like the attention, and we like the positive response from society and our friends. So they like it too. And we have to make it ever visible to them.
Yeah. Another thing you can do when you're on Facebook is, I've mentioned this before, but some of you newer coaches, if you go to their page and you hover over the friends button, you can do a get notifications, and that will notify you every time they post on Facebook. And so then you can go check out what they're doing. And you don't want to do that with everybody because you'll get too many notifications. But for people that you really like, I would do that. And then when you go interact with them, then your news feed is gonna, or your posts are gonna show up higher in their news feed as well when you interact with them. And I think also if they like your like page will actually show up higher in their news feed if you interact with them on your personal page. I believe that's true. Another thing I've noticed is that when you're talking to someone about coaching, especially, it just generally takes longer to sign them up. So if you just kind of have the expectation ahead of time that there's going to be a lot of back and forth and a lot of follow-up, then it kind of takes the pressure off you to sign them up this month, because it may take a while.
Right.
Calendars don't take as long, but just from my experience, coaches take longer to sign up.
I agree.
I feel like when Stuart talks about that, I feel like the longer it takes someone to sign up, the more serious they are about this. Right? And I say that because Channing, unfortunately, had a coach who signed up, and he quit like 3 weeks later, and she's like, dude, you didn't even try. Like, what happened? What? You're quitting before you even had like a taste. And so, don't ever get discouraged. It took Christine over a year. And look at her. She's a rock star. Stuart worked with me for over a year I'm a rock star. So
Yeah, there might be some truth to that because, I mean, just based on the data that we have, because, you know, I have a lot of people that signed up pretty quickly on the first couple of interactions and then didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas we do have a lot of people that we did build a relationship for quite some time before they signed up, and you know, they're doing really well.
And it doesn't mean the coaches who sign up really quickly aren't going to be successful or aren't going to be serious. Because I've heard, you know, conversations from Tara Carr, who talks about, and she's one of the top 10 coaches. You guys don't know who she is, but she's talked about, you know, customer conversion to coaches and then random leads that become coaches. How there's still successes, but most of her people are conversions from successful customers.
Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to add too about following up, it's not just with customers, okay, or challengers. It's also with your new coaches. So you got to check in on your new coaches and see if they're doing the training and see if they're, you know, what are they struggling with, what's going well, all those kind of things. Don't leave them hanging either.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that, right? How to most effectively help coaches go through the new training. And one of the things that I did with my new coach, Linda, I'm not sure if she's on here, but I was just like, hey, Linda, you know, so I said, when are you going to start the training? She said, Monday. So I messaged her on Monday, and I put her on my calendar because otherwise I'd forget. And I said, you know, Monday, hey, how did the first, you know, how's the training? Did you get started on the training? So it's just a way for you to help them have the most success rather than, you know, just leaving it to chance that they're going to do the training. Who knows? You know, like we said before, life gets busy. Maybe they forget to start the training.
Right.
So, you know, you don't want to go crazy. Did you do the first day? Did you do the second day? You know, you don't want to do that, but you want to just be a little bit, you want to give them a gentle, you know, push to get started. So
Nudge.
That's right.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions?
Team photo. Chris,
Oh.
you're going to have to unshare your screen.
Yes, ma'am. Whose baby? Is that Aaron's baby?
That baby sounds cute.
Baby did it.
Cute.
Yeah, I don't know whose it is.
Oh, I bet it's Melissa's baby. Melissa, I was talking about you earlier.
Hello.
I didn't realize you were there. Did you know I was talking about you?
Yes.
Was that okay?
Good job, Melissa.
Thank you.
All right, is everyone ready for the photo? Smile.
Smile.
I'm not.
Got it.
Perfect.
Good information, Chris. Thank you.
Wait, welcome. I'll get it posted up in both groups. If not tonight, tomorrow morning.
Great. Thanks, Christine.
All right, guys. I'll talk to y'all later.
Bye, guys.